Hello and namaskar. Welcome to yet another episode of Trinayani's podcast. I am Aastha Shah, an intern at NGO Trinayani, and I will be your host for today's podcast. With me, I have Ritika Sahni, the founder trustee of NGO Trinayani. Today, we are glad to be in conversation with Swarnalata, an Indian activist who is the founder of Swarga Foundation that aims to improve the lives of individuals with multiple sclerosis and other neuromuscular disorders. It does so by increasing awareness among the general public. Swarnalatha, affected with primary progressive multiple sclerosis since 2009 and a wheelchair user, holds a diploma in computer science and a postgraduate in Hindi literature. She is multi-talented and has won many awards for her work as a disability rights activist, notably the Bharat Prerna Award and the Thanga Taragai Award in 2018. She also is the first runner-up at the Mrs. India Beauty Pageant South held in Goa in May 2018. Swarnalatha is a TEDx speaker, motivational speaker, singer, writer, and photographer, amongst many other things. I hope we get to hear a few lines from you today.
Thank you so much, Aastha Shah, for a lovely introduction. And it's always glad to be invited by Ritika for any of her events. She brings a lot of cheer and life there. So yet another event filled with, so much enthusiasm for me today. So I'm glad to be part of it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Swarna. I think the very reason we've started this podcast is to try and demystify the various disabilities that are recognized by the Government of India. So the first question I think Aastha has for you is?
Yeah. So, since the primary objective of a podcast is to educate our listeners about the multiple disabilities, I'd like to start off by asking you if you can give our listeners an insight into what primary progressive multiple sclerosis is and what is it to actually live with it.
Multiple sclerosis is a disease of central nervous system which affects the brain and spinal cord and makes the person affected completely disabled. Since nerves are connected all over the body, so each and every organ and each and every activity gets affected. I can tell you that all 21 disabilities can fit into multiple sclerosis. Um, yeah, so initially when I was diagnosed, in 2009, I was neck down paralyzed. My speech, my vision, bladder, bowel, hands, legs, my cognition, cognitive, everything got affected. So I'm thinking something, I'm speaking something. So there's no correlation between anything that I'm trying to do. I'm fine in the morning, not so fine in the evening. So just not able to, guess what is happening. So it's very depressing actually. And that leads to another mental illness, right? So what happens in multiple sclerosis is there's a coating called myelin on the nerves. So that wears off. It's an autoimmune disease, so our own body cells try to damage the myelin on the nerves. So when that wears off, there is demyelination on the nerves. The signals sent from the brain to the other parts of the body do not reach. You have hands and legs, but they simply don't function because they don't receive the signal. It is very similar to that in the electrical circuit. You switch on the light, okay, if there is no insulation on the plastic wires, yeah, the signal will not reach the light bulb and it will not glow. It's a very simple thing, but it complicates our life so much and it shatters our personal aspirations, professional dreams, and like we have nothing to look forward to.
I mean, not something that one can say when one looks at you and meets you and interacts with you, that you have gone through all the aspects of someone who one fine day, because you were 29 when you were diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. So you were fine till 29 and then suddenly you have multiple sclerosis. So I'm not wanting you to relive, Swarna, but you've already mentioned and beautifully you've mentioned what it is like to have multiple sclerosis, that the way you explained. But what was it like for you initially when you were diagnosed with it and your journey so far? Because I have personally met you it's one thing to introduce you as a singer and motivational speaker and photographer. It's actually one thing to actually sit with you and hear you joke and sing. And your spirit, it's so lively. So what has it been, the journey? I mean, it'll be lovely for our audiences to hear that from you.
Yeah, the first time I was diagnosed, my son was about 2 years old. So the future was like, I used to work with a corporate. I was working with a German car company, and I was in a good position. Initially, when I was diagnosed, I went into severe depression. There was a lot of information available online about the disease. Doctors would not part with the kind of information they knew about the disease. I think if somebody would have been there to tell me that it is okay to be diagnosed, it is okay, you can still live a quality life, we are there with you. If I had received that kind of advice from somebody, things wouldn't have been so worse now. So I think that's one of the reasons also, we started an NGO to create awareness about the disease so that people don't fall into depression. They know how to handle the disease better. Yeah, and like I said, initially it was very, very difficult. Initially, the acceptance part was very difficult. How am I going to lead the rest of my life with this kind of disability? And it is progressive in nature. I was given steroids for 1.5 months, and I started walking again. So I kind of regained 60% of my mobility and 40% I lost forever. So I started walking again a little bit, holding doors, walls, people. Then came the walking stick phase, then the walker phase. Then from 2016 onwards, I'm using a wheelchair. So last year felt like this is the end of my life because I had extreme spasticity. I could feel tremors not only in my limbs but in my eyes, my ears, my brain. It used to shake. It was very, very painful, and I thought, this is it. And when there was a surgery done, and I was able to manage spasticity to a certain extent. Yeah, and when I went to the operation theater, I said to myself that I don't want to come back because I had seen a lot. I have fulfilled all my dreams. There was nothing that I haven't done which I wanted to. I had fulfilled everything. So if I have to come back, there should be a very strong reason for me to come back. And that reason, I think, is keeping me alive today.
Can we know the reason?
There is no rehabilitation center for multiple sclerosis in India. So that's the purpose of my life. And I'm working towards it.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Fantastic. I wish the audience could actually see you now because all this while, and we're 10 minutes into the podcast, you've been talking about how you've been affected. You've been talking about depression, but there has been a smile on your face throughout the time. So rightfully, you're saying, just to be able to hear someone say that, hey, you might have been diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, but that's not the end of it. There is so much you can do. And that's why you started Swarga Foundation. So since you mentioned that, Swan, why don't you tell us more about the work that you do? The fact that you've come to a stage where you're actually thinking of setting up an entire rehabilitation center, even this must be a journey, correct? From where you started. Give us the highlights of the work at Swarga Foundation.
Okay. Every project that we do at Swarga Foundation is our effort to find a solution that to the problems we are facing currently. So I've seen both lives, the one with disability and one without disability. So when I was leading a normal life, I really didn't know that these kind of problems existed actually. So after becoming disabled, accessibility was the first issue that I faced. There was stigma about disability and about the disease itself. Uh, and then there was no transport facility for people with disabilities. Rehabilitation is so expensive that one cannot afford because rehabilitation is something which is lifelong. One with neuromuscular disorders has to take it as long as they are alive, right? So one tends to spend more close to 10 to 15,000 per month only on rehabilitation. Then comes the medicines part. So a lot of things that we need to address. So we took all these projects in our own way, one step at a time. Okay, so initially we started counseling patients and their family members, not just to lead a life filled with meaning and purpose, but also guiding them in the right direction, because we've been in this field for long enough to know what treatment options are available where, who gives speech therapy, or how does Ayurveda work, or a lot of which wheelchair will fit to their particular body type. So all these kind of counseling we do. Slowly, we started supporting patients with their monthly medications, hospitalization, livelihood expenses, providing them wheelchairs, walkers, hearing aids, etc. Supporting children with special needs for education, supporting children of those affected with people with disabilities with their education. Then we started Tamil Nadu's first taxi service for senior citizens and people with disabilities. So this van comes with a ramp, toilet, sofa cum bed, television, hot water, so that people like us can travel with dignity, comfort, and safety.
It's called something, correct? Swarna, it's called something. You've called it a Sarthi. Sarathi.
Right now, we have two vehicles on board. Sarthi is like, we refer it to Mahabharata, where Lord Krishna takes Arjuna in the right direction. So, and we started Saukhya Pain Rehab Clinic in November 2018 to provide rehabilitation like physiotherapy, Ayurveda, and counseling services to all patients free of cost. And we treat about 600 patients per month currently. And then when it comes to accessibility, we made 10 government schools, railway station, and police commissioner's office in Coimbatore wheelchair friendly by providing ramps, toilet, and parking facility everywhere. And we have a project called,
So,
yeah,
so sorry. I just wanted to, before I forget, Swarna, about Sarathi. I know that you are also, I mean, there are people who can rent that vehicle no matter where they are in the country, correct?
right.
So would you please let us have how anybody can get in touch with you if they want to avail the services of Sarathi?
We have a dedicated phone number 73977 Anybody can call this number and book the service, and it's available anywhere in India. Generally, it's stationed in Coimbatore. So, like last month, they had booked it at northeastern Siliguri. So before that, they booked it at Hyderabad. So before that, it was in Goa. So because this is first of its kind in India, where there is toilet facility, there is sofa cum bed, and also there is this provision for wheelchair to be parked inside the vehicle. It makes it so comfortable for people with disabilities and their caregivers to travel without much hassles.
Thank you, Sana. So you said Gagan was 2 year old when you were diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, and then you had Ghana. So my question to you, and I'm sure there are people who have asked you this, and maybe when you were not disabled, maybe even you had that question in your mind. This whole myth surrounding sex and sexuality, as far as people with disabilities are concerned, and I definitely want to know your views on. Or the kind of questions, if you've been asked questions about sex and sexuality and sexual drive. I mean, thinking that people with disabilities are asexual is something that is so common amongst the general public. What do you have to say about that?
There are a lot of layers to this question, Like, first of all, when a woman sits on a wheelchair, everybody looks at her with sympathy. Okay, like as though we don't have a right to look beautiful, right? So that is the whole reason I participated in the beauty pageant in Coimbatore and Mrs. India Beauty Pageant South, and I won. Okay, so that myth I wanted to remove, that people on wheelchair can also look good, especially women, and they can also look attractive, and they can also look sexy and hot. So that's what all it was about, to add glamour to disability. Yeah. Second thing, a lot of people, openly on online forums they have written, aren't you ashamed of yourself having sex? Uh, in this condition. I have written that say it's my personal thing. If I and my partner are comfortable with it, there's nobody to stop it, right? And we are grown up, we are adults, we are married. So I don't need anybody's permission in my bedroom, right? So a lot of people also said that what if your disease passes on to your children, especially the second one, daughter, because she was born after my disability. So I told, see, it pains when people ask me such questions, but I think they're ignorant, so let us educate them. So I told them, see, I had no resources at my end to know whether, how this delivery or pregnancy is going to turn out. But I had complete faith that this is going to be a girl child. It's a blessing for me. I didn't want to kill her because I conceived her despite contraceptive in place, despite the disease and despite all the other conditions. Yeah, so she's a blessing, and Ghana is her name, and she's the music of my life. She's the most beautiful song of my life. Okay, so what I'm trying to tell is, without many resources, if I have done so many things, if I'm able to go in the positive direction, my children have seen a lot. I'm sure that they'll do better than me if ever they are diagnosed with this disease. It's not in my hands, so they'll take care of it. I'm sure. Yeah, as a mother, I never want them to, but yeah, thank you.
So tell me, Swarna, now that we're talking about Ghana and she's a teenager, you meet her friends. Have there been any kind of a situation where, she's had to face anybody saying anything about you or asking questions that she may not have answers to? Any kind of situation that you've had to face vis-a-vis their parenting or their schooling or their social life?
Okay. Thank you for asking for this question. It's very interesting actually. Ghana compares herself a lot with her peers and compares me with other mothers, and she feels I'm the best. She looks have she she feels that yeah, she feels that I'm the most youngest looking.
I love the way you say it. You remember that song? You remember that song? I'm the best. I'm the best. I'm the best. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So she feels that I'm the most youngest looking mother in her circle, and
That you are, my dear. That you definitely are.
yeah, and most beautiful and most intelligent, very compassionate. So there are a lot of positive adjectives to what she thinks me of as a mother. So there are no regrets. So when their friends are, her friends come a lot, visit us, her parents, their parents visit us. We have kind of tried maintaining normalcy everywhere. That disability is part of our lives, and we know how to handle it. That is what the message communicated by their actions. Anybody can this can happen to anybody, and we are ready to face it. That kind of attitude both of them have. I'm glad that because of this, they became more compassionate and more responsible and mature at a very young age. Just not me, but my father-in-law was diagnosed with Parkinson's and Alzheimer's. He was wheelchair user. My mother-in-law was in coma for 13 months. So literally at the age of 10, my son was administering insulin dosages to my mother-in-law because we didn't have help. My son used to help my husband to change my father-in-law's diapers. Okay, because again lack of help. So they've seen everything, and they know. See where mothers are hiding sanitary napkins. They also know their mother uses diapers because there is no access to toilets outside. So I don't have to hide anything. It's normal. Okay, I'm using a diaper because there is no toilet outside. It's absolutely acceptable in our house. So everything is acceptable.
In fact, absolutely. Yeah. The way, and it's mostly your attitude and the way you look at your life that has as a mother seeped into your children, Swarna. So you can take complete credit for that, because even if they have a certain attitude, it's because you've passed it on to them.
Now, since we're nearing the end of the podcast, could you please sing a song for our listeners?
Definitely. Thank you so much. हम तुम कितने पास है, कितने दूर है चांद सितारे, सच पूछो तो मन को झूठे लगते हैं ये सारे, मगर सच्चे लगते हैं ये धरती, ये नदियाँ, ये रहना और तुम. Thank you.
क्या बात है, क्या बात है. I'm telling you, it's you should be traveling all across the country, just meeting people, just having a chat with them, because there is so much to learn the way you conduct yourself, Swarna. Thank you so much. I hope the conversation that we've had with you, all the wonderful nuggets that you've shared with us about living with a disability, about living around the disability, about being a parent, a wife, an individual, NGO worker, a social worker, and an empathetic person who's going about doing what best she can to better the lives of persons living with multiple sclerosis, having gone through that journey yourself. Thank you so much, Varna. We both, Aastha and I, are absolutely thrilled to have spent the last 25 minutes with you.
The feeling is mutual, Ritika. Thank you so much.